we have to talk about this article from Bounding into Comics. And shout out to Bounding into Comics. They actually retweeted my tweet from earlier. So much love. But they just put out an article earlier this morning. Sebastian Croft, and if you guys don't know who Sebastian Croft is, he played young Ned Stark in Game of Thrones years ago. He also, a few years ago, came out with a shirt that said "Queer was always here" or something like that, with two dinosaurs kissing. Again, this is another J.K. Rowling-esque type of person. Basically, somebody that calls themselves an ally of the Elemental P community. And the second he does something that doesn't please them, they're going to throw him under the bus like they've done with J.K. Rowling.
Trans people are currently on the chopping block. It is, for whatever reason, acceptable in society for people to be openly transphobic like J.K. Rowling and others are. You don't really get canceled over it like you might if you were to go after gay people or black and brown people in Ukraine. And what's interesting about this is that it's not only just Vladimir Putin that seemed to support J.K. Rowling in her transphobia. It's a variety of other conservative, right-wing, and even alt-right, fascist, neo-Nazi people that support J.K. Rowling's transphobic views.
What the hell is even that?
Like they do with all the other entertainers that say, we're allies of the Elemental P community. And then as soon as they are out seen, taking a picture with, I don't know, Trump or somebody, then here come this entire community ready to cancel them. So now we find ourselves in a position, well, I'm sorry, not us. Now Sebastian Croft finds himself in a position of being one of said entertainers that are being attacked by the woke LGBT, Elemental P, whatever you want to call them, mob. Basically, the voice of the cast revealed for Hogwarts Legacy on January 11th included Simon Pegg, which, I don't know if you guys, look, Simon Pegg's a great actor, but he's a clown as well.
I just watched the finale of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and I've got to say, I think that show is the best thing Marvel have done since Endgame. It's really funny. I love its self-reflexivity. That last episode was like blazing fucking saddles. It was great. Tatiana Maslany is the bomb, and I would like to marry her in an alternate dimension.
And you have all these other actors as well, or, voice actors as well. Sebastian Croft is actually voicing one of the main actors. He's voicing one of the main male characters. Now, you would think that there's something that would be wrong with, you would think, he's just doing his job, right? He's just an actor being an actor. Well, you couldn't be more wrong if you're a part of the Elemental P community, because Twitter user Trans is Awesome criticized Croft, writing, "Queer was always here." So that was the phrase of his shirt from a few years ago. Includes trans people. So he says, queer was always here, includes trans people. Just reminding you, because apparently you forgot what your own merch stands for. Like, this is the problem with society, man. You give these people, man, oh my God. You give these people a freaking platform, and this is what they do. They go all up and down your freaking profile and just nitpick shit. I'm like, bruh. Y'all have all the time in the world to just sit there, look at somebody's profile, and nitpick things. It's the same thing what a lot of people do with the Bible.
Why they take pictures and they want to be on social media. Take the pictures. Take the pictures. Take the pictures. Go over here, grab her.
I understand where a lot of people are coming from when it comes to, bringing out Bible quotes and whatever, but you got some pastors out there that like to bring out the Bible when it suits their own agenda, when it suits their own narratives. And then when they're out doing fuck shit, oh, that was different. Why you bringing up old shit? The exact same thing with these people. I could see if Sebastian Croft came out and said something that would be disparaging to the Elemental P community. I could see if Sebastian Croft came out and set his shirt on fire or something like that. I could see if he came out and said that, none of this includes trans people. Trans people shouldn't be in this and shouldn't be that. I'm not that I would disagree, just saying. But he didn't come out and do none of that. He simply took a job. He simply voiced a male protagonist of a video game. And I don't know if this Trans is Awesome person knows this, but Sebastian Croft is also, wait for it, a dude. An actual biological male. I don't know if Trans is Awesome knows that, but I don't see how that's a problem. So apparently now it's a problem to consider yourself a trans ally or an LGBT whatever the fuck ally and still identify as a male and still take roles as a male when you're in an entertainment industry. Apparently now it's a problem. So my question to the LGBTQ community is, when is enough enough? And I guess I have to answer my own question by looking at this article and say, never. Enough is never enough when it comes to the gender benders. Because obviously, this dude had to come out and apologize after this whole tweet fiasco with Trans is Awesome, whoever the fuck this is. And then before he could even get to his damn thing, to his apology that his whole rollout that he's going to give them, Trans is Awesome comes back the very next day and says, "I hope all the trans people who are hurt by this situation are doing okay. Please know that you are loved and that you are valid. I love you guys so much." And then puts a trans flag. I think that's a trans flag. I assume it's a trans flag. I wouldn't know. But it's one of the elemental peak flags. This happens. And then Sebastian Croft sees this, and then he tweets out his own tweet, his own walk back, and it says, "I was cast in this project over 3 years ago. Back when all Harry Potter was to me was the magical world I grew up with. This was long before I was aware of J.K. Rowling's views." Deflecting when you don't even have to deflect. Anyways. "I believe wholeheartedly that trans women are women and trans men are men."
Women! I said women!
So, I wish I had the meme. I wish I could find the meme where it was like, before we had this information, the world before we had this information, and the world after we found out this fucking information. Because, first of all, obviously, he's wrong. Trans women are not women. Trans men are not men. That's just what it is. That should be common sense, but in the world we live in, I know far more now than I did 3 years ago, and hope to learn far more in the next 3. This sounds like a fucking press conference at this point. "I'm really sorry to anyone hurt by this announcement. There is no LGB without the T." So, there's people hurt by the announcement that he is voicing a male character in a Hogwarts game. And so instead of saying, "Hey guys, get over it, and if you can't get over it, fuck off and kick rocks." That's usually what I tell people.
No, I mean, I 100% agree. Social justice warriors can kick rocks.
But instead of doing that, he wants to say, "You know what, guys, you're right. I took this job 3 years ago. And I didn't know about J.K. Rowling's views." So not only is he saying, hey guys, this is my bad. No, he's saying, "Oh, well, I didn't know J.K. Rowling was a raging transphobe." Oh, that's what they call it, right? Or transphobe or whatever. "I didn't know she was a transphobe 3 years ago." Huh? The fuck does that have to do with you taking a role for a video game? She created the property. Even if she created every single character in the game, who gives a fuck? You know what that did for you? That gave you an opportunity to not only get paid, but for more exposure as an actor, as a voice actor. But no, you can't even take that. This is bad. They're asking him in the comment section to give him money to fucking LGBTQ charities after this walkback. And you think nothing's wrong with that? Guess who shows up 2 days later in his comment section after his walkback? Yep, you guessed it.
Because guess what? I am back. I'm better than ever.
A wild trans is awesome appears. And they say people in the comments are the perfect example of cis people saying they're allies and actually not being allies. 3 years ago? Great. She's been openly disgusting for 5 years. There is no excuse. Listen to trans people.
You ain't down with that? Shut your goddamn ass up.
I want to say this. That is the worst piece of advice you could ever give anybody, is to say, listen to trans people. They're the last people you should probably be listening to when making any kind of decision, especially an important decision when it comes to life. But we're running around here in 2023 praising people for something that they're not, literally. If I were to step outside of my fucking doorstep and yell out and say, I'm a woman now, and then start running into people's bathrooms and start running into people's fucking restaurants and start running into nail salons and start running into female fucking spaces, I would get praised for that in 2023.
I am delivered. I would not carry a purse. I would not put on makeup.
That is fucking ridiculous. These are the same people that are in comment sections that show up to events, public events, to protest because trans people aren't included. Why? How come we don't have a trans president? How come we don't have a trans CEO? How come the trans flag isn't being flown all over town? That is what they're doing right now. And now they're saying you cannot make a video game because the owner is a quote-unquote transphobe. But they check all the other fucking boxes. J.K. Rowling checks all the other fucking boxes for the LGBTQ plus community. She checks every other fucking box except when it comes to, hey, I just want to let y'all know, women are women, trans men are women, trans women are men. That's all she said. And then ever since then, the LGBTQ community has done nothing but seek out J.K. Rowling tweets. Seek out where's J.K. Rowling's next move. Where's she going to be next? So we can make her life even more miserable. And because J.K. Rowling has fuck you money, and she has a lot of it.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, nigga. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Hit me. Not literally.
Her children and grandchildren will have a lot of it. Now, she trolls them. Now she's like, okay, whatever you say. But now they're coming after Sebastian Croft. And I'm sure he doesn't have fuck you money. At least not yet. He might get a job in the MCU if he continues to pander to the LGBTQ community. And I think that's his end game. No pun intended. He wants a job in the MCU to play one of the many, many gay characters that they're going to introduce in the next 2 to 3 years.
When asked if a gay, bi, LGBTQ out character in the MCU was in the works, Feige responded, yeah, that's the answer. Both ones you've seen and ones you haven't seen.
So Sebastian Croft, he's sitting here with his fucking fingers crossed, hoping he gets a job in the MCU in the next couple years as one of the many gay characters that they're gonna present to us. You know, he's pretty much saying, hey fam, don't attack this person for the tweet. I understand that they would be hurt, which is why I wanted to clear things up. So Sebastian Croft comes out and says, hey man, don't attack this person. I don't know who the fuck this is.
I like that bear. I don't even know you.
I don't know who this is. I made the tweet because they wanted to tweet it out. It got over 1 million fucking views. So I figured I had to fucking say something. So here it is. And of course, the icing on top of the cake, and not in a good way, obviously, Trans is Awesome shows back up the very next day and says, a little late, don't you think? Like I said before, man, you cannot please these people. You cannot please these people. But if you thought that was bad, let's get over to the comment section. So this is after Sebastian Croft, after his whole walk back, right? Where he says, look, I didn't know 3 years ago that, blah, blah, whatever the fuck. But I took this job 3 years ago, and pretty much every job that I'm going to take from now on, I'm going to make sure I run it by the Elemental P community. That's pretty much what he says. And then, obviously, you can't see it, but somewhere in this tweet, in this walkback, he does say something along the lines of, and I will also give you a handy J as well, if you let me have a job in Hollywood again. Tobias says, so many cis and non-Jewish people accepting this apology, like literally shut up, can't even spell the word this correctly. I guess they were so mad that they were shaking that they couldn't even spell a simple word such as this. Obviously, this tweet is fucking idiotic. But let's scroll down and see what other people are saying. What's this Jewish thing about? What has JK said against Jewish people? And then, of course, Tobias replies, he says, the game itself is anti-Semitic. Now, if Hogwarts Legacy was already not getting enough heat, now they want to say that this game is anti-Semitic. And you wouldn't believe the reason why they're saying this game is anti-Semitic. They're saying that the goblins in this game are an evil depiction of Jews. What the actual fuck?
Have you ever seen a Harry Potter movie? And people are all like, I love the Harry Potter movies. Like, you ever see the scenes in Gringotts Bank? And they're like, I love the scenes in Gringotts Bank. He's like, do you know what those folks that run the bank are? And they're like, what? And they're like, Jews.
And then I remember, and then that person says, no, goblins. And then you go,
and you're like,
you hear yourself?
Let me show you this from, it's the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. I just want to show you a caricature. And they're like, oh, look at that. That's from Harry Potter. And you're like, no, that's a caricature of a Jew from an anti-Semitic piece of literature. J.K. Rowling was like, can we get these guys to run our bank? And you're like, it's a wizarding world. It's a world where it's
you can imagine anything.
They're comparing Jews, or they're comparing goblins to Jews. Now, if you thought that this shit couldn't get any more idiotic, it certainly has. Now, I really hope that nobody's taking any kind of weight with this whole anti-Semitic rhetoric, let alone the anti-trans rhetoric with Harry Potter's franchise, with the Hogwarts Legacy game. And just, I want to let you guys know, too, like, I'm not somebody that's sitting here like, I'm going to buy the game. I'm not buying the game. I never wanted to buy the game. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. I wasn't even allowed to watch it growing up as a kid. I didn't watch my first Harry Potter movie until I was like 17. And it wasn't really that interesting to me. I watched the Fantastic Beasts movies. I thought those were interesting. I was like, I fuck with these. I watched the first 2 Fantastic Beasts movies. But the third one I didn't watch because they took Johnny Depp out. So I didn't watch that one. But I did watch the first 2, and it got me interested in the whole franchise. Then I watched Harry Potter. I watched the first 2 or 3 Harry Potter movies. They're good. But I just want to let you guys know that I'm not one of these people that's going out and buying this fucking game. I'm not. I'm not interested in the game. But what I am interested in is when you go after somebody's job, especially when they support you. When they go out of their way to say, hey, I'm an ally of this community. I am your friend. Now, he's not going out saying, I represent you guys. Now, if he's doing all that, whatever. But he already had a target on his back because he's out here making t-shirts for the Elemental P community. He's out here saying, hey, I'm an ally of this said community. Now he's got people in his comment section calling him a transphobe, calling him anti-Semitic, calling him this, calling him that, calling him a bigot, all this stuff. And here's what I can say to all of that. There is no bigger pose of a threat to the LGB community than the T. Because at this point, who's causing all the ruckus? At this point, who's running in all the bathrooms? Who's running in all the restaurants?
Yesterday, we told you about a biological man named Paul Baxler who had entered the women's locker room at an Arizona gym. That the 72-year-old biological man sits on the Liberty Elementary School Board. One of Paul's fellow board members tells us that Paul used the boys' bathroom during meetings and school events, but he has now decided to begin using the girls' bathroom. We're also told that the kids feel extremely uncomfortable around Paul, but that may be because the Daily Mail reported that Paul is wearing his deceased wife's clothing in front of school kids.
Who's doing all the damage and making the entire society angry and uncomfortable? First of all, there's two things. There's two things that are going to make the T part of the LGBT community crumble. And it's when you make society feel uncomfortable. Because when they start feeling uncomfortable and they still can't say anything, I mean, you can say anything. That's why I'm saying something. But when they feel uncomfortable and they act like they can't say anything because social media, big media, tells you, oh, if you say anything about the trans community, shame on you. You're a terrible, evil fucking person. You're a fucking they call them what? Nazis? You're a Nazi. You're a Nazi, a homophobe, transphobe, bigot, blah, 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 blah. And then the second one is if you feel unsafe. If society starts to feel unsafe, and we are, then the trans community will be shunned out. I can tell you right now. A lot of the stuff they're getting away with, being able to go into gym locker rooms and stuff like that, being around women and children, like it's some sick shit going on in that community.
Did you notice the bow? I'm not comfortable with the sex I was assigned at birth, so I'm exercising my right to identify with the gender of my choice. Now get out of my way, I have to take a shit.
And you know they ain't about shit when they start going after actors for doing their actual job. Acting. You give them an inch, they're going to take a fucking mile. Because right now, they're bitching and complaining about Sebastian Croft being a man, voicing a man. Or a male. Being a male, voicing a male. But next, it might not be an actor like Sebastian Croft, a voice actor like Sebastian Croft. Next time, it might be a woman voicing a preteen male, which we've seen a lot in cartoons. And then what happens then? Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be the same thing? I'm not saying it should be. We had a woman voicing Tommy Pickles when we were kids growing up, and we had no idea it was a woman voicing Tommy Pickles. So why the fuck would I have a problem with it? But I guarantee you, these people will. Because I guarantee you, they would have no problem having a trans person voice a woman. But what they will, in fact, they'll go as far, the only thing I can see them complaining about is that they wouldn't change the character, the cartoon character, from a woman to a trans person. They would have no problem seeing a trans person show up on a show, and the only thing they can talk about is being a trans person and having sex.
Abby.
Or they would have a problem with having a man or a woman acting as a trans person in a show. Yeah. Tough pill to swallow, huh? It's coming. So if you guys think for 1 second that any of this shit towards Sebastian Croft was warranted, it's not warranted. But at the same time, he brought this on himself. Because when you pander to this community, enough is never enough. They're going to find something to criminalize you with, quote unquote. I mean, obviously, you can't go to jail for any of this shit. So I don't even know why the fuck he's even caring about this. Because if it was me, I wouldn't pay them no fucking mind. Why are you voicing blah, blah, blah? Because I said that I have no problem with gay people. Not what, but again, he went as far as making an entire fucking t-shirt saying queer was always here. And then 3 years later, when you're voicing someone, a man, in a Harry Potter IP product, in a Harry Potter IP game, and then those same people come after you, I'm not saying it's warranted, but what I am saying is that he brought it on himself. That's all I can really say at this point. But anyways, man, what do you guys think about this? Am I overreacting? Are you guys getting the Hogwarts Legacy game? Look, I see people out there a lot right now saying they're just buying the game to piss off the Elemental P community. That's not something that I do. Like I said before, I don't do this whole fucking weird stuff about like, oh, they did it, so let's do it too. And no, I'm cool on that, man. I'm good on that. I'll hate from the sidelines. I'm good, and I ain't hating anyways. But if you want to call it hating, I'll hate from the sidelines. I'll critique. I'll give my own fucking opinion on this shit from the sidelines. Like, this isn't about the content of the game. And that's the biggest issue that I have with this whole thing. It's like, they're not even talking about the content of this game at all. They're talking about a character being a male, being voiced by a male that supports the LGBTQ community. And then now they're calling him an enemy. That's the biggest problem I have with this whole fucking thing. But again, I called this years ago. Anyways, man. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's your boy, Corn. I have done this. I've been spent way too much time on this fucking topic than I wanted to. It's Half-Ass Pod, and I am OUT. Also, remember, guys, you can find me on Twitch at HapVA92. You can also find me on Rumble at HalfAssPod92. I'll catch y'all later.